It's that time of year, kids, where we get to hang mistletoe and dress up Christmas trees. Ha ha! How's it going, guys? It is now approximately 6:30 p.m. on the 8th of December, 2013. I'm supposed to be studying for a final. That's not what I'm here to talk about today. Nope. I'm going to try something different today. I'm going to attempt to hold on to my mic and pace and walk. This will be fun. I don't think this is wise. This is not wise. Because you could probably hear the jiggling of the bass. That's not going to work. There we go. We're going to set that down on the counter on my dresser because that's the best I can do right now. I've got my little itty-bitty Christmas tree up. I've got a little candle Christmas tree I got at work, as well as a little candle thing of the birth of Jesus. It's a little candle memorial. It's really cute. But today we're not talking about Christmas, but I wanted to say happy holidays if I don't get to before Christmas. My boyfriend's supposed to be visiting me 9 days. For 9 days! Instead of the usual 3. It's amazing. I get 3 times as much time with him, except I work 2 of those days, so I'm not going to complain too much, but it is awesome. And I hope, if I don't get to hear from you guys, have a happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. Hope you have a good holly jolly vacation for those who are studying, instead of, complaining about the academic system. But today, I wanted to complain about the academic system here in America. Now, for those who do not live in America and don't know, we have to pay for school out of pocket. Okay? Our elementary and preschool, middle school, and high school classes are free. The only thing we really have to pay for is, minor things. I know they have, small fees that you have to pay. I don't know why. At that point, it should be paid for by your taxes, but it's not. But what's interesting is our college degrees are paid out of our own pockets through the loans that we borrow from the government, who has no money. Because our debt is so high. That makes so much sense, right? So already I feel like as if my degree isn't even going to matter because there's nothing to back that up. Because, I borrowed money that doesn't exist. Let me pay you money that doesn't exist to make back the money that doesn't exist. Does that make sense, people? If you learn about the debt ceiling, you'll kind of realize that. It's like I'm giving you fake money to borrow, to pay for the fake money that you're supposed to give to the college to get a decent degree, which is sad. And then they wonder why there's poverty. Anyway, hi guys. This is Mew-Z's YouTube podcast talking about how horrible our academic system is in America. Ding! So basically, I've come to a very horrible complaining point when I couldn't sit down and study anymore. I really haven't drilled it. It's all my fault if I fail, I guess, apparently. And I am basically just kind of giving up a little bit and taking the time to talk to you guys. How are you guys? How's your holiday? How the kids? Got some exciting things coming up this Christmas. Hopefully I can take some time away from everybody and just chill. Hopefully tomorrow after the exams are done and I get home, I'll get to have some fun and relax. But in the meantime, I get to write up a podcast and drive you guys absolutely bonkers. Because I like to complain about things. Also, an apologies for the last podcast. That was so probably racist, and I am horribly sorry. No amount of punishment can amount for how horrible, and repent for how horrible that podcast was. Yeah. Anyway, so, academics in America. Now, here's my first, other than financial things that I have a problem with America and their academic system, my problem is There's a lot of academic problems, but we'll get to that in a minute. Other than us having to pay out of pocket for our education for a college degree, there's also some minor problems we have with our teaching here. And it does boil down to some of the teachers, and this isn't to blame the teachers as a horrible, it's a horrible career. There's always the constant debate of whether or not teachers get paid enough, and that does have somewhat to do with it. I don't know what the average is. I've heard it's like $40,000 a year, US dollars. I've heard it's 35. I've heard 20 or 25. It just depends. So I really don't know what the average is. So I really can't even throw an opinion out there because I don't even know what it's like to have $20,000 salary. I only made like $12,000 last year. Only $12,000. At least you have a job. Yeah, I'd like to have a working vehicle and feel like I can actually pay my bills with a couple bucks in my pocket at the end of the month. That'd be great. I also don't make enough on the AdSense to get any kind of paycheck from it either, so no, that's not working either. Okay, so what's going on? Basically, I want to try to talk about how the academic system works here in America, and I feel like this podcast is either going to be really, really long or really, really short. This podcast was recorded a second time over because I decided I'm ranting again. And I didn't want to have to carry my mic. I don't know how even that sounded when I picked it up, so I guess we'll call that a mini test and see how that works. Because I feel like, in a sense, that everything I've done in the system of education has become nothing more than a ploy. What do I mean by this? Well, first off, we as an American society have failed to do what we need to do in the academics, or at least I feel. You can throw degrees around all you want, all day long. But we don't have as many jobs as we'd like to. And don't get me wrong, we've gotten jobs back. We have made some kind of increase in the years. My problem right now is that I feel like I'm going to get this degree and it means nothing. For those who don't know, I used to go to a local campus that's like not even a 10-minute drive from my house. It's a 3-building campus. It's not very big at all. It's tiny. Tiny, 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 tiny. I now go to a campus that's like 100 acres. It's huge. There's multiple buildings. They have a radio and television program that I'm trying to get into. It's actually what my degree is communication and radio and television. I might change that to mass production or something like that instead of radio and television, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I have to run a part-time amount of time taking care of the radio station, which I don't think is going to work out because I want to keep my part-time job until I graduate. And with it being an hour away from my house, I don't think I can do it on top of school, on top of work. So if I went full-time or something and I had a dorm or something like that, then it'd be completely different. But because I live an hour away and do part-time school and part-time work, not probably going to happen. So what's the complaint about our academic system? Okay, let's take out the fact of personal biases. Some campuses are better than others, okay? Some campuses suck, like the one that I have locally. Some of them are pretty awesome, like the one I'm going to now. I really enjoy it. I have problems with teachers sometimes. I really do. My English Comp 2 teacher is amazing. I love the guy. He was great. I felt like I learned something. Except I think our main problem right now is that we're under this education system where everything has to be the same. In order for everyone to be treated fairly, everyone has to do the same thing. And it's like, how is that fair? What do I mean? Alright, everybody says, we have IEP classes, that should be plenty enough for you to get a degree. No, that's plenty enough for you to graduate. Graduate high school, for that matter. Shut up, phone. Nobody likes you. Anyway, so the house line is ringing, and I'm like, go away, nobody likes you. Nobody likes you, house line. Everybody got cell phones. I don't know, was that racist? I'm sorry about the last podcast, it was horrible. But basically, the way we take in information, and there's this unfortunate ideology that we all have this, everybody has the ability to succeed. But in order to succeed, everyone must do the same thing. This is so sad. Everyone can succeed in the exact same way. Has anyone seen the comic of this teacher sitting at a desk, and behind this row of animals is a tree? Well, in order to show our testing, everybody must do the same thing. Please, please climb the tree that is behind you. There's like a monkey, an elephant, a fish, a bird. There's like a few other animals. There's like a giraffe. I think there's something like that. But it's this row of animals and a tree behind them. And I'm like, exactly this! Not everyone thinks the same way. Not everyone is able to achieve the same thing. So our ideology and our understanding of how people think and learn is very drastically different than what people seem to understand. So in order for us to achieve the information that we need to be able to know and understand that people learn differently. Well, again, people bring up the IEP thing. Well, everybody's got IEPs nowadays. Oh, please go F yourself. Because I hear that all the time now. Like, everybody's like, well, they're just given gifts for just being there. Really. I haven't received a single thing. I'm a C average student. And getting a participation award didn't feel good in any way. Sorry. I don't care if I was doing an academic sport like martial arts or if I was in class. If I got a participation award, I felt like crap. I felt like crap because it didn't feel like it meant anything. It was just a pretty ribbon. It didn't mean anything to me. So when everybody says, "Oh, you get an award just for being there," I want to punch them because the award means nothing. I didn't win anything. Ooh, I came over and participated. And the fact that I didn't even need... I did, but I didn't need an IEP. It was one of those things where, like, everybody kind of... I don't want to say ignored me, but thought I was normal. You know, I'm just a little derpy, therefore I don't need any help. And yet I was constantly failing history class. And yet nobody thought, well, she needs an IEP. Like, nobody thought that. Nobody thought, well, we need to get her an IEP or something or some sort of special class for her history. Nope, no help at all. And there's a problem right there. And I know somebody wants to mention the No Child Left Behind, which I don't know much about, because that was kind of implemented after the fact that I graduated. I think that I implemented either really close to the end of high school to I don't even know when it got implemented in, but I don't know much about it. And I know a lot of people always complain about it. My only complaint is that I keep hearing, mind you, I don't know if this is necessarily true or not, but I keep hearing that children are being given good grades because they failed. Because they don't want them to stay behind, so we're just going to give them a good grade. That's not what that means. That's not what it should mean. That's silly. That makes no sense. So, what's this about the academic system that really pisses me off? Is that I feel like that every system is literally to the point to where it's almost strictly systematic to the point of, like, I want to say drill sergeant army based, where everybody has to do a certain method in order to get through school, high school and college, and it's systematic. Very systematic. The only time it never becomes systematic is whenever, like, in English class, you're told to evaluate something and you are told to give an opinion on something. The only thing that's systematic at that point, or at least it should be systematic, but isn't, is the way you do your grammar and the way you your sentence structures and stuff like that. Except for some reason, giving an opinion means you get your butt beat. Congratulations, we're teaching our kids not the will of freedom of speech. There's nothing wrong with freedom of speech. And yes, there is a thing where you have to be responsible for the backlash of having freedom of speech. Freedom of speech gives you the right to say things. It doesn't protect you from being stupid. You know, you can argue all day and night that the green is blue. But the green is blue? The grass is blue. The grass is blue. That's staying in, guys. I'm not editing that out. The grass is blue all day. You can hold that opinion all you want. Of course, that also goes back to how, you perceive color. Is your green the same as my green? Is your blue the same as my blue? But the way that people react to something and the way that information is passed, I don't feel is very well done. Take, for example, whenever a person, when you're in high school or middle school, they usually group you into two different areas: math and science, English, and history. Basically, are your two main. History also kind of grafts into geography, stuff like that. Your Englishes and your English as well goes into there. If there's a religion study, kind of goes in there too. Book studies kind of goes in there. Math and science and physics kind of goes in there too. In the math and science, kind of goes in there. So you have your physics and your biology. But I think we kind of got this a little bit backwards. I think when we try to say that, history and English should be in the same category of each other, I don't feel that's correct. And it's why I don't feel it's correct. And actually my ride, who takes me up to my current campus, who drives one way to go and then comes back an hour, it takes an hour to and an hour from, she's going up there actually for law study. And she was talking to me about it, and she was like, it doesn't feel like history should be grouped with English. And I was like, yeah, I think I understand why, but why do you think why? And she told me that, well, English and history, what you use your brain for each. And I was like, I think I know what you're getting with this. And she told me that, with science, you're told facts. You're told facts. You're told certain systems, the way things work. Biology is all about, knowing what something does and knowing what it's called, what caused it. And that's what history is, where, who, what, when, where, why, which we'll get to that in a minute. Who, what, when, where, why. Biology and science is who, what, when, where. Not necessarily who, depends on what you're studying. What, where, why, what is it? What, where, why, how, why. You understand what I mean? Math is a little bit of who, what, when, where, why. But how? How does it work? How do you go that extra step? You're told equations. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a is an equation. That's a fact we're supposed to learn. Addition is when you take two numbers and put them together to make a new one. What makes math different than science? Sometimes, and there's fair amount of exceptions, but generally under math we are told this is this, therefore it makes this. In literature we get the same thing. You are thinking in a systematic way. We have to learn about Shakespeare sometimes, and you have to learn about Romeo and Juliet, but you're taught to go that one extra step further. What humanities classes, especially humanities and world history or certain history classes, try to do is explain, this and this and this happened on this date and this time with this guy, but then they try to take that extra step and tell you, this is why it happened and what it could mean. And that's really important for teachers to understand, is teach what does it mean. And that's why math usually gets grouped. Well, I feel math should be grouped with language. And I actually had a really hard time teaching. I actually tutored somebody for about a couple weeks to get them on the trail for math. Because we had a really bad math teacher. I don't care how long you're teaching. If I can't understand you, you're not a good teacher. They had a hard time catching up, so I got them the basics to get them going. Because I ended up struggling later on the semester with them anyways. But I told him, you're a literature buff, right? You're really good at literature and grammar. Would it make sense to tell you that can plus not equals can't? Does that make sense at all? You take the word can, take the word not, and you put them together, you get cannot, but you also get can't. That's math in English. That's teaching math in English. That concept makes sense in a way. You've learned how to take a factor in one subject and apply it to another that you're suffering in or not doing so well in. You could do the same thing in history and science in a way. I wouldn't know how exactly to do that, but history and science where we learn factual information. I feel like we're stuck there in world of academics. We're stuck in this world of fact. It's all about facts, 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 facts. You have to know this fact, you have to know this fact, you have to know this fact. And it's annoying. I hate it. I hate when I have to sit there and learn where the War of 1812 took place, and that's what's most important. Where, when, who, what. Very rarely we're told why it happened, or the deep understanding of why it happens. What I want to start seeing is teachers explain, what can we learn from this? What can we learn about our days today that could reflect on this war and we know not to do in the future? That's what history class is supposed to be about. Not only learning enriching of history, but learning how not to do it in the future. What's math about? Math is about taking concepts together and putting them together to make something new and discovering something further than that. Science is about the way the fabric of the reality in the physical realm works, and how science is a combination of multiple things. The way the human body works, the way physics works, the way outer space works, the way light reflects off of things and we can see things. It's multiple things, acting all at the same time. And literature is about how you speak and read and learn, and how you can take certain sources of information, how to be intelligent about it, and how to say, this isn't okay, that is, and here's why, here's a source so I don't get framed for, copyright problems or me taking somebody else's words, and here's how intelligence gets applied into it. And it's like, nobody teaches that. Like, nobody says, that's what math's all about. That's what science is all about. This is what history is about. This is what we're going to apply. This is what literature is all about. This is what religion's all about. This is what communications is all about. This is what this is all about. It's like, I don't feel like we're fully there yet. I mean, I had an introduction to communication class one time, and I was like, okay, they taught me that communication is between two. There's this, communication channel system. That if you're saying something to somebody else and they're not listening, you're not communicating. If you're saying something to somebody else and they hear it, you're kind of communicating. But if you say something to someone else, they hear and respond and can interpret it and respond back, you are communicating. The problem is we aren't taught that. And it's annoying. When I walk up to a person and say, this is what math's all about, this is how you get people into math, is realizing that when you make things interact with each other, effects happen. Things of a new realm happen, which is why I think happens in science, is why they get grouped together, is because you can do that with science. If you mix this chemical with this chemical, this happens. If you take 2 plus 2, it equals 4. The whole network of subjects and what you could do with each other is amazing, and you can use that to help teach your other students. We don't think that way, and it's sad. It really is. It's sad to think that I can just stand here and talk about how I feel like we can network education together, but nobody wants to do it because everybody's like, well, I'm focused on literature, I don't know anything about math. Bull! If you put two things together, you get a new product. So, if I put eyesight to comprehension, I can therefore plus words equals read. I can see plus words plus comprehend equals reading. Just because I can see words doesn't mean I can read. Okay? Just because you can see letters and figures doesn't mean you can read. Comprehension is needed too. Equals reading. That's math. But I just applied that to English. It's not that difficult. It pisses me off when I am sitting here in this humanities class and I am drilled, and also I'm drilled facts more than I am humanities. It wasn't until the last fourth of classes that we started getting truly into humanities, because we started talking about slavery and women's rights and what certain memorials can do for political propaganda, especially in North and South Korea. If you ever see the dome of the tall person hugging a child, it's supposed to be like the big brother hugging the little brother between North and South Korea, and there's supposed to be like this peace thing. Good luck explaining that one to your kids, or at least in a manner that makes sense. If you do, awesome, good, we're on the right track. But it pisses me off when I'm sitting here in humanities, I'm drilled facts, and then I don't feel like I'm learning anything. Because I'm not a factual person, okay? You can give me equations all day long. As long as I have a proper equation, I can solve it. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a was just drilled into me in my head because of a song. But that's the only equation I can remember offhand. That's the only one because of a song. So you have to give me all these other equations. Once you give me those equations, I can solve it out. Perfectly fine. All these equations, I'm going to go, okay, I need this one, and this is the answer. But I will never be able to learn those equations right off the bat. Equations is factorial, and that's what we're taught. We're taught facts. I don't think we're taught enough about how to apply those facts. And I know that's what English and philosophy classes are for, but we need to start doing this in lower grades. We need to be able to start teaching people how to apply information. Oh, wait, that makes intelligent people, which could overthrow the fucking government. Realization. Mind blown. Also, one other problem I tend to have is in high school. Because high school, we're taught algebra in high school. Which sounds like a really good idea because it's trying to get you prepared for college. Here's the problem with that. I have not used algebra since college. In my everyday life, I have never used algebra. Never. never have I ever touched algebra or advanced literature in a retail job, which is the only job really available. There's that for you. And yet I'm just supposed to take in this information and just accept that this is what I need in regular everyday life. It's not. You don't need all this stuff in regular everyday life. You don't need to know about obtuse and acute angles. You don't need it. You really don't. Nobody cares. And honestly, I know they have, like, special classes for, like, this is how to cook and how to sew, blah, blah, blah. This is how to do this is how to do that in your house, blah, blah, blah. You know what's the one thing they don't teach you? How to balance a goddamn checkbook. Oh, you have to be in business degree in order to learn that. Why? Why do I have to wait until I go for a business degree to learn how to balance a checkbook, or my parents to teach me how to balance a checkbook? This is sad. I don't feel like the academic world has quite gotten down its feet. And maybe this isn't just applied to America, but I don't feel like we're going that extra mile to learn. And what's interesting is, even though I know all this, I can't get the facts down so that I can further implement it. I can't get these questions down because I can't memorize the examples that I need in order to answer the question. Why? So I'm stuck in this infamous circle trying to figure out how to solve the problems that the question is asking because I can't memorize the fact and implement at the same time. But because everybody has to do the same thing in the same exact way, unless I can get an IEP, which I probably can't because it's not like as if I'm suffering, air quote suffering, I can't get an IEP. And even then, I do not believe IEPs actually teach you differently. They teach you different things. That's what an IEP technically does. Not always. I've seen exceptions, but from what I understand, they don't teach you the same thing as everybody else differently. They just teach you different things. And if that's not true, I apologize. In your case, I apologize. But that's from what I see in other of my friends who had IEPs. I feel like they weren't actually learning anything or anything that we were. It's just they were being taught simpler things. And maybe that's all the farther they can go. That's fine. But, that happens. Sometimes you really do hit that cap. Which is another interesting thing I'm going to end this on, is that we all have different caps. And whether that's emotional, mental health, but it goes for education too. We'll never know what our cap is. I don't think anybody really truly has a cap. I think we all have rate of taking in information. But nobody wants to do this. Nobody wants to say, you learn slower, therefore we're going to give you a different approach, and we're going to keep teaching you until you get to where you need to be, even if it takes you a little bit longer to learn it. Yeah, repeat another grade, but then you're just going right back to where you started, and you're going to do it all again. It feels broken. Like, I feel like we're not actually taking into consideration each student. Actually, this idea is going to get put in my story when I get typed it up. One of the main concepts is the government is run very differently, especially in terms of academics. They're not only grouped out, the children are not only grouped up in ages, but they're also grouped by way of learning, how they learn. Do they learn visually? Do they learn by reading? Are they more descriptive? Do they need to talk out loud in order to learn? They take these special exams to see how they learn, and then they grouped up there. So there's like 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, and each letter represents a category of how they learn. That way there's no there's no misunderstanding. And certain ones take quicker and longer. Some are harder to learn, even though they're in those separate category classes, because some are faster learners than others. But you're also not rushed. It's not like you're forced to rush, because obviously the education is paid in a manner by a source. I don't want to spill too much, but to think that you could group out these kids into different categories so that they can learn based on their learning abilities, we need to use this system. Why haven't we? Because the rest of us get screwed. Hey, you're just not good enough. Here's some Medicare and Medicaid. To that I say, go fuck yourself. I feel like the 12th Doctor. Go fuck yourself. I want the 12th Doctor to say go fuck yourself. So anyway, that is my tedious rant. I am actually ending this on the 30-minute mark. Holy crap. I'm going to go back to studying. I have to be in bed in about 3 hours, which means I have to let this thing download and crap. In the meantime, I will talk to some of you all later. This is Megan's Mew-Z's YouTube podcast, and I will be talking to you guys later. If you have topics you want me to talk about, throw them in the comments. I will gladly listen to them. Again, I apologize if my quality has been sucky. I haven't been able to post a podcast in a long time due to school and work, but now that the Christmas vacation is up, I hope to relax, post one more vlog, or a podcast, I should say, and we'll be right back to our normal school schedule. I will be bringing my camera to OhioCon, 2014 OhioCon, taking place at the Columbus Hyatt Regency Columbus Convention Center. If you are coming to Ohio's OhioCon, come by and say hi. I will be doing, for sure, one of my panels. Elementary, My Dear Otakus is a panel I will be running there, so if you want to come say hi, say hello, I will be there doing a Sherlock panel, so hopefully I will have watched all the episodes up until that point and read some canon. I have read some canon of Sherlock Holmes, I just gotta finish up. But anyway, I will talk to you all later. Peace out and have a good holiday vacation and good luck on your finals. Peace out and have a good one, guys.